Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. There are reports that units on the front line in Ukraine are running out of ammunition ahead of an expected counterattack against Russia. Despite the recent arrival of modern weapons like tanks and armoured vehicles, Ukraine remains heavily reliant on its older Soviet-era arsenal. Ukraine's call for more weapons and ammunition has only become louder the longer the war has gone on. This unit's commander says towns like here in Bakhmut will fall to Russian forces soon if more ammunition isn't provided. People in Sudan are continuing to flee the country as fighting continues. The majority of Sudanese escaping their country have fled to Chad. Around 20,000 refugees have so far made the journey. The current ceasefire, which has largely been respected, is due to end at midnight tonight local time. Over 300 United Nations staff members and their relatives who were based in Sudan have arrived at Nairobi airport. The crisis has sent growing numbers of refugees across Sudan's borders, with the UN Refugee Agency estimating 270,000 people could flee into South Sudan and Chad alone.
We needed to bring our staff out. The situation continues to deteriorate, continues to get less and less secure. And it was essential that non-essential staff were brought out and the dependents. The situation in Sudan, even before this crisis, was bad. Huge humanitarian needs. This is only going to make the situation worse. Over 15 million people needed humanitarian support before. I suspect that that number is going to double, if not increase even further.
Thai police say they have arrested a woman suspected of killing 12 of her friends and acquaintances by poisoning them with cyanide. Sararat Rangsi Wuttaporn was arrested in Bangkok following recent inquiries into a friend's death. The victim's family had raised suspicions after she died on a trip with Sararat earlier this month. Following inquiries, police this week said they believed Sararat had killed 11 others, including an ex-boyfriend. NATO's Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg has welcomed the first phone call between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Zelensky described the hour-long phone call as long and meaningful and said Xi had expressed words of support for the extension of a deal to export Ukrainian grain from its Black Sea ports.
I welcome the call between President Zelensky and President Xi.
But Stoltenberg told a news conference this doesn't change the fact that China has not been able to condemn Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine.
I think it's important also that China gets a better understanding of the Ukrainian perspectives. This doesn't change the fact that China has not been able to condemn Russia's illegal war, illegal invasion of Ukraine.
British actor Hugh Grant has arrived in London's High Court for a phone hacking case against News Group newspapers. Grant's case is similar to that of Britain's Prince Harry, who is suing Murdoch's NGN for multiple unlawful acts allegedly committed on behalf of its tabloids, The Sun and now defunct News of the World, from the mid-90s until 2016.
Morning, Hugh. Hey, morning.
News Group newspapers, which has settled more than 1,000 phone hacking cases over the past decade, is trying this week to strike out Harry's and Grant's cases, arguing they should have taken action sooner. And Tucker Carlson has broken his silence after his departure from Fox News in a video lashing out at what he calls liars trying to silence honest people.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievable.
The short video was posted on Twitter 2 days after his exit. He did not share the reason for his departure or speak about his future plans. Fox News has said it and Carlson had agreed to part ways. His exit came days after Fox settled a defamation lawsuit over its reporting of the 2020 presidential election. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.